Theodore Bundy, Kanye West, me. You might think these people are crazy, insane even, just some mentally unstable maniacs who should not be trusted under any circumstances. And you are absolutely right, don't get me wrong. Do not let any of these guys near your children or the floor of a Target. But all of these men are basically Mr. Rogers on mood stabilizers compared to history's craziest genre of person, the dictator. Don't believe me? Well, what about Joseph Stalin? Joseph Stalin was dictator of the Soviet Union from 1924 until his kind of hilarious death in 1953. The circumstances were so kind of hilarious, in fact, that they made an entire black comedy movie about the death of Stalin, creatively titled The Death of Stalin, which starred such attractive, strapping young actors as Steve Buscemi and the grandpa from Arrested Development, for some reason. I mean, just look at that face. I'm wet. I'm wet. There's no other way to put it. I mean, I'm really soaking through the couch cushions over here. Golly gee, Steven, put that thing away, dude. I can't handle the raw animal magnetism of that thick, juicy, meaty, girthy Now, The Death of Stalin is not a documentary. It's a comedy. So they do take some creative license with a few of the events in the film. But one thing that they did get right was, well, again, the death of, Stalin. Well, mostly. Kind of. Just, okay. You see, Joseph Stalin was a pretty scary guy. He could fly off the handle about pretty much anything and was quite fond of sending people to the Gulag, a system of forced labor and prison camps within the Soviet Union, which were not exactly a five-star mint-on-the-pillow kind of locality. And that was just if he didn't have you immediately killed on the spot, of course, which was also a very regular occurrence. He would also, as we'll soon see that basically all dictators do, make a lot of strange and unusual orders. One in particular being his order to his personal guards not to enter his chambers under any circumstances. Which, sure, the man wants a little privacy. Nothing wrong with that. We've all put the do not disturb sign up, thrown a little sock on the door handle. No one wants to walk in on the old Joey S. doing the reverse beef stroganoff, because if you reverse then he'd be stroganoff his beef. Okay, let's move on. But what made this request so strange was not the don't come into my room, mom part, but the any circumstances bit, and how far Stalin was willing to go to make sure that people understood what any circumstances really meant. You see, after giving the order, Stalin, the diabolical little scamp that he is, decided to run a little test, an experiment of sorts, by hanging out in his room, giggling to himself, presumably. And then repeatedly screaming out in pain. Again, we all do this from time to time, but in Stalin's case, there was actually no real hot sauce in his pee hole. He was just pretending that there was. And sure, I pretend to scream out in pain alone in my room as much as the next guy, but that, that's different. So Stalin screams out in pain. And the soldiers on duty obviously enter his room, because as far as they know, their great mustachioed leader just got the Tabasco in his pecker again, and that is literally their jobs. The man is in danger. That is their exact job description. And in response, Stalin thanked both of them graciously for caring so much about his well-being, and then offered them both a slice of clementine.
Clementine? Oh, thank you.
No, I'm just kidding. Stalin was more of a plantain kind of guy, and he also actually had them arrested and killed for coming in his room, was what happened. So, what does this have to do with the death of Stalin, you ask? Well, as the movie portrays, one night in 1953, Stalin retired to his room to get some shut-eye, had a massive stroke, shit himself, and then promptly blacked out on the floor. So, for his personal guards, and everyone else in his palace for that matter, the next morning rolls around, and no Stalin. Which, sure, the guy must have just drank too much or something. He could be late. He's the authoritarian dictator of an entire goddamn country. The man can sleep in if he wants to. The day goes on. It gets to the afternoon. Still no Stalin. Okay. Yeah, the guy's taking the day off, I guess. Maybe he's just getting off to a really late start. After all, the guy is Stalin.
You think I'm Stalin?
Coming around to the late evening, still no Stalin. Wow, Okay, geez, does this guy have like a secret snack bar in there or something? The man hasn't come out to eat shit or drink anything all day. I don't know, maybe he's fasting. Ivan, is it Ramadan? Oh, it is Ramadan? Okay, shit, cool. All right, thank God, no need to worry then. 9 p.m., no Stalin. 10 p.m., no Stalin. 11 p.m. rolls around, and Stalin's maid is like, so what the f***? I have been here all day, still haven't gotten to clean up the place. I'm trying to go f***ing home, bruh. I got 13 hungry little babushkas in my one-bedroom flat that need their nightly beatings. I mean, what in the name of Pete Erzberg is going on here? So she goes to Stalin's personal guards and is like, guys, you've changed shifts like 3 times at this point, and you know, I'm not going in there. Oh, well, come on! Little Ivan's not gonna beat himself. I gotta go f***ing home, dude. You wanna go in there? I said I wanna go home, not to f***ing Siberia. Are you crazy? I'm not going in there. Well, we're not going in there. Well, I mean, what if he's like, you know, dead? What if he isn't? Yeah, fair point. But you're his bodyguards, right? Isn't it your job to, you know, guard his body? Ma'am, our job is literally to not go into that room. Well, I mean, what if he's in danger? I mean, I think I just heard him screaming in there. You better go check on him. Oh, yeah, right. Ask Vladimir and Steve what happened last time we fell for that one. Oh, wait, you can't. They're dead. I mean, well, can't you just listen, lady? We don't get paid to, well, we don't get paid at all. But if we did, it certainly would not be to listen to old hags yell about some bullshit all night. So if you want to die slowly in a hellish gulag, be our guest. But for the last time, this fine piece of Russian ass is not going in to that room. Capiche? Wow. Okay. You guys are dicks. Well, what do you expect? I literally just said we don't get paid. I got a blister on my foot the size of Ukraine, and last time Stalin saw me sit down, he cut off my pinky toe and ate it. So just, seriously, f*** off and let me live my sad little life in front of this door over here, please. Well, Igor really does need that beating. Holy shit, she's actually doing it. Oh my God! What? It smells like shit in here! So the maid then discovered Stalin lying unconscious in a puddle of his own excrement almost 24 hours after he had initially collapsed. And what's ironic about this entire situation is that there is a very high likelihood that Stalin could have lived through this if he had just gotten medical attention sooner. But, you know, he was a crazy person who murdered everybody who came into his room, so he just ended up having to lie in a puddle of his own shit for an entire day and then die. So, you know, there's a life lesson in there somewhere. And there's also the teeny tiny little detail of Stalin feeling that his power was threatened by anyone more intelligent than him, which was a lot of people. He was kind of dumb, not exactly the brightest beat in the bush. So he had kind of already sent all of the city's good doctors to the gulag for being too smart. So yeah, he died 4 days later in the care of some very bad doctors and I think even a couple of veterinarians. Something that will never die, however, is the joy I get from knowing the next entry in this Watch Mojo's top 10 quirky Stalin facts list here, which is that the man used to write weird, rude, and sometimes strangely prophetic comments on prints of nude men. Like, exclusively nude men. I don't get it either. I'm not trying to kink shame the guy or anything, but I don't even think it was like a sexual thing. We'll get into it. Stalin did this kind of a lot, like a concerning amount, and many of the comments written had nothing to do with the fact that the guy was nude, or a dude, or the painting at all, or art in general, or really just anything that could relate to the thing that he's writing on. Take, for instance, probably his most famous comment, which he scrawled across, quote, the leg of a weighty male nude. Stalin wrote, "Ginger bastard Radek. If he hadn't pissed against the wind, if he hadn't been angry, he would be alive." The ginger bastard in question here seems to be one Karl Radek, the former head of the International Communist Organization, who was believed to have been shot dead by Stalin's secret police in 1939. I guess some of Karl's angry piss stream got caught in the wind and ended up right on Stalin's new Balenciagas or some shit, and the guy still hasn't let it go to this day. Some other choice cuts from the juicy hunk of meat that was Joseph Stalin's nude male tall tales include one written on a drawing of a man sitting naked on a pedestal, which said, quote, "Don't sit with a bare ass on stones. Give the boy some pants." Strange. Just a truly strange hobby. A very specific, strange little hobby you had there, Joe. He also wrote on another naked fella, quote, "Plekhanov, why are you pointing backwards? Coward and enemy of the people." Which, all right. Okay. Another quote, again, written by Joseph Stalin, former dictator of the Soviet Union, on a separate print of another naked man, said, quote, "One thinking fool is worse than 10 enemies." Which, what the hell are you doing, man? Did he get these naked man prints specifically to sit down and think up some philosophical bullshit to write on them, or was he just already looking at them for some unrelated reason and just had to scribble something on there when the thought organically struck him? Like, I need answers to these questions, man. On yet another naked man print, and these are just some of the ones that they found, by the way. There were so many more than this. How much time was he dedicating to this activity? On another print, this one featuring a man pictured naked from the back, reaching down toward his crotch, Stalin wrote, "You need to work, not wank. Time for re-education." And that one's just, I like that one. I think I'm starting to get it now. I think I'm starting to come around. I think I need to get myself some prints. I say like I don't already have a stack of tasteful male nudes next to my jar of paint, thick, yellowish white paint. And you know who else had something very interesting next to his own jar of paint? Well, I'll tell ya, it was Muammar Gaddafi. Muammar Gaddafi was the dictator of Libya from 1969 until his much less hilarious and far more brutal death in 2011. I'm not going to describe how all of them died, by the way. These two just happened to go out in a fashion that was particularly interesting. You see, Libya was in the middle of a civil war between Gaddafi and rebel forces, and in 2011, the rebels ended up capturing Gaddafi, and he died shortly afterward. The rebels initially claimed that Gaddafi had died in a firefight when forces loyal to Gaddafi tried to free him from the rebels' compound. However, a video later surfaced of the rebels brutally beating him, and then one of them, geez. Okay, how do I put this without YouTube using my channel as toilet paper here? They took a bayonet and they inserted it in a place where a bayonet should not go. The same place that YouTube is going to use my channel to wipe. If you catch my drift. They put it in his butt, okay? They put it way up his butt. They turned the dude into a dictator kebab, all right? It was brutal. He also died the richest man in the world at the time, having an estimated net worth of $200 billion in 2011 money. And for context, Jeff Bezos only has a measly $169 billion in 2023 dollars at the time of writing this. So, suck it, Baldy. I should probably not be making fun of him for that. My hairline is receding faster than your mom can close the distance between her and a churro stand. Anyway, before all that, Gaddafi had a very long history as dictator, the stress of which, if you've seen my CIA iceberg, you might know, seemed to have a pretty big impact on his appearance. And I'm not talking like Obama style, where the guy just got some gray hair and a couple of laugh lines. You know what? I'll just let me speak for me on this one. Muammar Gaddafi, who used to be quite the Chad himself before he aged about as well as a kiwi stuck in a stagnant puddle in Florida for an entire calendar year. Seriously, look at this man. Somebody pull him out of the crock pot, for God's sake. He is overcooked. Weird looking fella. Just a melty looking fella. A guy looks like the dude who played Doc Brown and Who Shot Roger Rabbit when he gets the dip on him.
Oh my God, it's dead!
And Gaddafi must have been at least a little bit insecure about this as well, because in 1995, he flew in a Brazilian doctor for a very unorthodox plastic surgery sesh. Gaddafi insisted that the surgery take place after midnight inside of his personal bunker, and that the doctor only use local anesthetic because he wanted to, quote, remain alert. And I mean, can't be too careful. You know, I mean, his people were clearly not the biggest fans of him based on their bayonet use when they hit him with the old, you know. So makes sense that he didn't want to get put under. You know, somebody could always sneak into the late night bunker facelift and catch him lacking. And if Gaddafi wanted to remain very alert, they could have actually used cocaine to numb his face, as it is technically classified as a local anesthetic. So, you know, fun little cocaine fact for you there, kids. That's why all them rappers always talk about not being able to feel their face. They can't do it. In addition, Gaddafi also stopped the 4-hour procedure halfway through to, no joke, eat a hamburger.
Hamburger.
Was it the
Junior double triple whopper?
I would like to think so, although that is still a hotly debated topic amongst historians. Also, I'm not too familiar with plastic surgery, but if the guy is being operated on in the face region, and they also numbed the shit out of it with local anesthetic, that must have not been a very comfortable burger eating session. I'm just like, how, you know? Guy must have been really peckish. I mean, he could have put it in a blender or something. He also got hair plugs, and I do not have a joke for that one. Male pattern baldness is no laughing matter, folks. Him getting, you know, bayoneted in the booty, I'll yuck about that all day long, but, you know, I want to keep my hair. Gaddafi was well known for his absolutely unhinged speeches, primarily to the United Nations, in which he claimed some pretty interesting stuff. Some of the juiciest tidbits include him claiming that drugs and Osama bin Laden were personally responsible for his country's civil war, and definitely not his terrible authoritarian leadership. No, that'd be crazy. That'd be crazy. You're crazy. That's insane. What are you talking about?
What are you talking to me?
He also once claimed to have, quote, conquered the United States and gave a 2-hour-long rambling speech at the UN in which he expressed his support for Somali pirates.
Look at me, sure. I'm the captain now.
And claimed that the Jews were responsible for the JFK assassination, which is just ridiculous, obviously. We all know that that was the CIA. He also hates Switzerland for some reason. He's jealous of their knives, I guess. And I mean, they are just so nifty. Who could blame him? I mean, I can stab a man and open a bottle of wine and a can of beans all at the same time. I've been doing all three of those things separately my entire life. I mean, you know how much time that has saved me on a daily basis? Because of this Swiss miss, they were on his hit list, with Gaddafi once proposing a UN resolution to dissolve the entire country of Switzerland, which very surprisingly did not pass the vote. He also hated Italians for them colonizing Libya during World War II, and presumably their close proximity to Switzerland, and in response actually banned all Italians from ever entering Libya. Which makes this next insane speech of his even stranger, because he once gave a speech in Italy to exclusively women as to why Europe should pay him 5 billion euros. I do not know who keeps letting this man get in front of a podium, but whoever it is, he needs to be shot. Speaking of shot, Beyonce once got a shot to perform in front of the dictator when he offered her $1 million to perform at one of his parties, which she then actually did. And then, after massive public scrutiny, she donated the entirety of the $1 million to the Clinton Foundation. Which, not sure if that's, any better there, Queen Bee. I think you may have just done two separate terrible things. I mean, that's like robbing a bank, feeling bad about it, and then giving all the money to Jeffrey Epstein. And Beyonce was not the only powerful, caramel-colored woman that Gaddafi had a fancy for. No. Probably one of his most famous quirks was Gaddafi's absolute obsession with former U.S. Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice. And I do mean obsession. You know, this was not a schoolyard crush going down here. He really wanted a big bowl of that brown rice, if you know what I'm saying, if you know what I mean. You know, a guy was trying to eat healthy, you know, he's on a diet.
I always heard that brown rice was healthier for me.
He had Libya's most famous composer write Condoleezza a love ballad, which he titled Black Flower in the White House.
'Cause you're my black flower in the White House, breaking hearts all over the globe. You're my black flower in a red blouse, I'm ass naked under this robe.
which I'm on board with that one. I like it. You know, what a sweet thing to do. What a totally reasonable gesture for an African dictator to make toward a high government official in a country that's supposedly his mortal enemy. That makes sense. You know, love conquers all, right? Although apparently Gaddafi conquers the United States, according to him, so who knows, really? Maybe it would have worked out after all. Real Romeo and Juliet story here. After Gaddafi personally showed Condoleezza Rice this ballad and the accompanying music video he had made for it, which simply composed of a slideshow of different photos of Condoleezza Rice, for which he had collected, Condoleezza quietly vomited in her mouth, I assume, and then later described Gaddafi's obsession with her as, quote, weird and a bit creepy.
Call me crazy, but I'd even trade ya malaria for your labia.
And it certainly does get at least a little bit creepier. This is when the previously mentioned jar of paint part comes in. When anti-Gaddafi rebels captured his compound, they actually found a homemade scrapbook that Gaddafi had personally assembled that was filled to the brim with pictures and press clippings of Condoleezza Rice and was located right next to his bed, presumably adjacent to a box of tissues and a very crusty blanket. Which, I'm surprised they didn't find some kind of altar with voodoo dolls and Miss Mudafi Rice scrawled on the walls in poop and blood. I mean, that is insane. The guy got caught with the Secretary of State spank bank, bro. That's just embarrassing. And pretty fun to say. A bit of a tongue twister there. Try it out at home. Secretary of State spank bank. Secretary of State spank fuck. It's not easy. The obsession does not stop here, though, in my opinion, if we go ahead and take a closer look at Gaddafi's personal bodyguards. You see, Gaddafi's security team was a bit unorthodox, certainly very progressive with their hiring methods. I mean, the guy was really taking affirmative action seriously here. Gaddafi had a 40-person security team known as the Amazonian Guard, which consisted of only certified virgin women, which Gaddafi handpicked himself. And if we take a look at several of these Guard members, do you see anything familiar here? Are you noticing any kind of resemblance of some sort? Now, obviously, not all of them look exactly like Miss Rice. I mean, Gaddafi was working with a relatively small sample size of Libyan virgins willing to do whatever the the job description here was. I assume it involved dressing in a pantsuit and lulling him to sleep at night while whispering "Connie loves ya, baby" to the tune of Black Flower in the White House. And these neat little Gaddafi tidbits I've given you are all mostly lighthearted. I mean, sure, there's nothing funny about a dictator with an insanely creepy fascination with an enemy country's Secretary of State. What am I talking about? That's hilarious. That's objectively hilarious.
That's actually hilarious.
But so that you don't think Gaddafi was just some goofy little goober who loves surgery burgers and sultry secretaries of state. Well, I mean, he was that too, clearly, but don't forget, this is a brutal dictator we are discussing here. So brutal, in fact, that he used to burn his own soldiers alive in their own barracks when they refused to shoot unarmed protesters. And that is about as on the nose as you can get. I think that's probably the most efficient sentence you could use to explain the brutality of a dictator. It really hits all the points there. But still, goofy goober, goofy guy. But you know who was even more of a goofy goober? A man who reached almost critical levels of wackiness? Well, that man was Saparmurat Niyazov. Oh boy. This guy's a fun one. Saparmurat Niyazov was dictator of Turkmenistan from 1985 until his death in 2006. And his death was not as eventful as those last two, so we won't get into that again. But notice how I do keep saying until their death, as opposed to just some random retirement date. Dictators don't retire, folks. They keep being crazy till the very end. Just like me. You're stuck with this face until my nicotine addiction or debt collectors catch up with me. Support me on Patreon if you want that last part to take just a tiny bit longer to happen. Still got one good kneecap here I can keep old Lefty if you slide me a couple of bucks, please. Link in the description. And speaking of being crazy till the very end, this guy certainly did that. I mean, hooey doggy. This may be the most quirked up white boy on this list, despite him being, well, whatever Turks are. I think they're still technically Caucasian. I gotta change the subject before I get canceled. He was a weird guy, is what I'm getting at. Near the beginning of his rule, Niyazov began a very long career of renaming things by renaming himself to Turkmenbashi, which means head of the Turkmen. And after that, he got the taste. Like, you know, like a shark or like a f***ing dog or a flamingo or something gets like a nibble of somebody one day, and then suddenly it has the taste for blood, you know, that taste for human flesh everyone's always talking about. Yeah, that's this guy with naming things. He started with himself, and he just never looked back. The guy had a serious problem. Throughout Turkmenbashi's career, he renamed the city of Krasnovodsk to Turkmenbashi, and the city of Yenya to Turkmenbashi, as well as the month of January to... What did he name that? What was that one? Oh, wow. Look at that. He named it Poop. Wow. Poop. Really? Did he name it Poop? Yeah, wow. Not even their word for it either. Just the English language version of poop. All right, I don't know what I'm doing here. He named it Turkmenbashi. You know, the best time to visit Turkmenbashi is in Turkmenbashi. February's just too late. You'd still have some time to go to Turkmenbashi, though. That is a sentence that could be said and technically would make sense, thanks to this band. It's like the Turkish equivalent of that thing where you can say buffalo like 12 times and it's still technically a real sentence.
Buffalo, 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 buffalo,
Buffalo, buffalo, buffalo, buffalo, buffalo, buffalo, buffalo, buffalo, buffalo.
Thanks to those dirty, fictitious Brits and their diabolical English language. Sorry, their English Turkmenbashi. My apologies, Turkmenbashi. Please don't send me to Turkmenbashi. Especially not in Turkmenbashi. It's just too cold. Sorry, now, the correct way to say that is now it's too Turkmenbashi. I'm having too much fun with this. I'm having too much Turkmenbashi. He didn't just name things after himself, though. No, that would be incredibly vain and narcissistic. And if there's one thing Turkmenbashi is, it's clearly a very humble, down-to-earth man. Well, I mean, the 40-foot gold statue of himself he had built is technically not very down-to-earth. It's 312 feet above Earth, specifically, actually, as he had it placed atop a 312-foot thing. I guess a pillar of some kind. I'll be honest, I don't really know how to describe this thing, but it kind of looks like if a Persian decided to make a strangely phallic version of the Space Needle. Oh, and that previously mentioned 40-foot gold statue of himself atop the strangely penis-like Space Needle was rigged to constantly rotate in such a way that it was always facing the sun.
A statue which always rotates to face the sun. Ashgabat is little more than a dictator's Disneyland.
I'm not sure what happened to it when the sun went, down, but my current theory is that just doesn't happen in Turkmenistan. It's just like Alaska in the summer over there 24/7. And that was not even close to the only one either. Turkmenbashi developed kind of a habit of putting up enormous statues and paintings of himself all over the country, but who among us hasn't been guilty of that? The 40-foot necessary information statue's in the works as we speak. It's a Patreon stretch goal. It's a guy got a Kickstarter running, the old necessary information statue GoFundMe. But anyways, yes, as I was saying, the always very humble and generous Turkmenbashi did take the time to rename stuff to things completely unrelated to him in any way, such as the 2 separate towns he had renamed after his mother and father, the word for bread, which he also changed to his mother, and an Olympic stadium, which he renamed to Turkmenbashi. Shit. That one doesn't count. He's a humble man, damn it. So humble, in fact, that he gave every citizen of the country their own personal wristwatch for absolutely free. I mean, this guy really wanted them to know what time it was. That is very nice. I mean, the watch did have his own face plastered all over it, but let's not pay attention to that part. Humble guy. Something else he generously bestowed upon the people of Turkmenistan, which was probably his crowning achievement, was the national holiday of Melon Day. And my script just says Melon Day, and then in quotations, insert boob joke here, ? So make of that what you will. Melon Day, in reality, did not involve celebrating the luscious baps of Turkmenistan. However, it involved celebrating, brace yourselves for this. It was really surprising for me to learn. Melons!
Central Asian country of Turkmenistan, famous for its delicious melons, held annual melon festival on Sunday, drawing hordes of tourists. People celebrated the melon festival by singing cantaloupe and watermelon-related songs. Several folk dancers also participated in the function to display their art. The contest displayed 200 different varieties of melons, whereas over 400 melon varieties are grown in various parts of this country.
Specifically, a special crossbreed of melon invented in Turkmenistan named, yes, you've got it, the Turkmenbashi melon. And I, personally, am always happy to see a pair of Turkmenbashi melons, let me tell you. I mean, them babies are juicy. As much as Turkmenbashi loved giving things, however, he also very much enjoyed taking them away, like candy, from, let's say, a baby, for example, but a fat baby. You know, like a diabetic baby. I mean, he's doing that baby a favor, taking that candy away. Who would give candy, like processed sugary candy, to an infant? They're supposed to drink just like milk, right? They don't need a Reese's Pieces. Turkmenbashi, in no particular order, banned opera, ballet, circuses, video games, lip syncing, car radios, beards, and long hair. So, apologies to the hairy theatrical clown who sidelines as a singing Justin Bieber lookalike and loves music on his way to work, but you're not going to be able to play GTA 6, buddy. Because it's going to be like $90, and I don't think you could afford it on a fake Bieber clown salary. So, Turkmenbashi also banned gold teeth, the reason that he gave for which was, quote, I watched young dogs when I was young. They were given bones to strengthen their teeth. Those of you whose teeth have fallen out did not chew on bones. This is my advice. A wise man indeed, that Turkmenbashi. And, you know, now that I think about it, I actually knew a guy who lost a tooth from biting into a bone. It was a fragment of a bone in a hamburger that chipped it, and then they had to pull the rest of it out, and he just had no tooth for a while till they could replace it. So, you know, that quote, that might be the opposite of the case there, Turkey boy. People are not dogs. Again, a very wise man, though, humble guy. Turkmenbashi also forbade anyone in the country from owning more than one cat or one dog. And he also completely outlawed dogs in the nation's capital because of their, quote, unappealing odor, which makes the whole I watched dogs when I was young, quote, thing even stranger if he doesn't like them. But then he also paradoxically built another giant gold statue of a dog somewhere in the country because he liked that particular breed so much. I don't know, maybe it didn't stink, but it looks like a stinky f***ing dog. That thing is ripped. It's got to have the roid sweats, the doggy roid sweats.
Doggy what now?
Hi, editing time, Evan here. I have reconciled this paradox, the gold roided out dog statue paradox. It was actually built by the new leader of Turkmenistan, not Turkmenbashi. So, yeah, I am really thorough with my research. Okay, bye. I don't know. I kind of feel like this guy was just trying to be as weird as possible sometimes, you know? I mean, maybe he was just like, okay, I'm the dictator of a small landlocked country. How will I cement my legacy? Yes, I will be batshit insane. Ban those dogs and name me up a melon, please. Melon boy. Oh, melon boy. Yes, Turkmenbashi? January is my name now. Oh, okay, that sounds good to me, Mr. January. No, you fucking idiot, not literally my name. Somebody kill this fucking guy. Oh, God, no, not again. You! Rename the month of January to Turkmenbashi. But that's your name. God fucking damn it, didn't you see what happened to the last guy? Shit, Jesus, okay. But also, I'm just like a guy. I don't make the calendars or anything. How am I supposed to? Oh, good Lord, I should have seen that coming. This is going to be harder than I thought. He also banned television reporters from wearing makeup or reporting on contagious diseases at all. Ever. Not even a little bit. That might have been fun a few years back, and I might have made that whole process a little more interesting.
Is it off or is it on? Do you need me to turn you on? No, I'm coming home.
Check your panties.
Speaking of television, he also made every TV anchor in the country start every broadcast by saying that their tongue would shrivel up if they slandered the country.
Back, you twisted tongue! You will not lick me!
Well, except for those anchors who had previously slandered the country, for which he made say... My script just says he made say, parentheses, shriveled up tongue noises for that part. Just a little peek behind the curtain for you there. And making said noise made my tongue itch. think I might have just slandered the country. After Turkmenbashi discovered he had a heart condition, which forced him to quit smoking, he suddenly decided to care a whole lot about the nation's health and figured that if he couldn't smoke, literally no one else could either. He promptly made it illegal to smoke in public spaces or for government employees to smoke at all. How kind of him to care about the nation's health so deeply and be such a pillar of morality for the children. Presumably because he continued to smoke illegal cigarettes, Turkmenbashi then died of said heart condition in 2006. However, in a move that is very out of character for him, he failed to name a successor before he died, which must have been the only thing that he did not name. Although, if he did, he probably would have named it Turkmenbashi, just statistically, so that wouldn't have really worked out. And the guy who ended up replacing him was actually the dude who worked as his royal dentist. So, just like if the nation was run by an iPad 8-year-old in 2018, you know that country gon' be flossing. 5 years before his death in 2001, Turkmenbashi wrote his magnum opus, his Piece de Resistance, a book the Turkmeister titled The Runama, after which he promptly built a 20-foot statue of the book in full color in the nation's capital, and then renamed the month of September after it. He's got to cover all his bases there, you know? I mean, who needs marketing when you can just rename an entire month of the year? Hey, Steve, do you know when the Runama comes out? Oh, yeah, I think the 24th of Runama. Oh, shit, dope. Okay, cool. So can I buy those bath salts now, or like what's going on? Now, I do not know what the is in this book, not even a little bit, but absolutely everyone in Turkmenistan certainly did, because you know that shit was immediately required reading material. The Turkenheimer actually made memorizing the Runama mandatory for all government employees to keep their jobs, and knowing it by heart was actually required to get your driver's license.
Nice license. Can I touch it?
Okay, so you got your 200 hours of supervised driving time in. You can parallel park. Okay, that's always good. Oh, yes, sir. All right, we're looking good here. Now, just one more thing. This should be easy. What is the 5th word on the 3rd paragraph of the 6th chapter of our all-powerful leader's holy Runama? Oh, oh, jeez. We got another one. Somebody kill this guy. Oh, God, please. Please, no! No, I just wanted to feel the thrill of the open road. No, God, please! In addition, Turkmenbashi ordered that all the mosques in Turkmenistan, an Islamic nation, must now treat his book with the same amount of reverence as the Quran. That one is particularly funny to me for some reason. I mean, that's like if Joe Biden wrote a book titled, I Didn't Shit My Pants in Front of the Pope That One Time, and other assorted, what are we talking about again? And then ordered every church in America to treat it the same as the goddamn Bible. The goddamn Bible. It's a funny little thing to say there. There's a bit of an oxymoron there, isn't it? And speaking of religion, Turkmenbashi also made the very accurate, provable claim that anyone who read his book 3 times would automatically get into heaven, and that this was a deal he had personally arranged with God himself. So, if you will excuse me, I have some sins to go commit now. Just one moment, thank you.
Days later.
Oh, that was fun. Oh, that's some good times. Oh, all right. Okay, just got to remain alive long enough to finish that book 3 times, and we should be good. Oh, wait, no. I forgot to stick the fork in that electrical outlet. Hold on. My girlfriend will kill me if she knows I forgot to do that. Let me take care of that really quick. Hold on, just a second here. Let me just... All right, where's that fork at? There it is. Okay, there we go. Got the fork, got the electric outlet here, and a 1, and a 2, and a... Oh, I can smell my own flesh cooking. Oh God, no, hell is real. Hell is real, and it burns. Oh, look, there's Kim Jong-il.
I'm so lonely, so lonely, so lonely inside real Rome.
Lots of people know that Kim Jong-un is an angry little baby man whose obsession with missiles implies that he is definitely compensating for something because of movies like The Interview and that whole thing where World War III was almost started via a Twitter war between him and Donald Trump. That is... wow. Oh, crazy times. Imagine hearing that sentence in 2010. This is what things have come to, folks. Anyway, what a decent amount of people don't know is that in Un's case, the angry little baby man apple did not fall very far from the angry little baby man tree, so to speak. And it actually fell a decent amount onto the better side of the angry little baby man tree. His dad was even worse, is what I'm saying.
I don't need my father. I am strong.
You see, North Korea is a pretty recent development, with the Democratic People's Republic of Korea, which is what they call themselves, somewhat hilariously, because they believe they own, all of Korea. Let's not even get into the Democratic People's Republic of part. I'll be here all day. But the place was not established as we know it today until 1948. And in country terms, that's like yesterday, dude. That's like less than 100 years ago. I mean, there's still plenty of people alive today that existed in a world before North Korea. Probably not too many of them actually live in North Korea, given that the life expectancy is lower than a Jamaican limbo champion in the middle of whatever limbo competition is the highest one. I don't know. I don't follow Olympic limbo or whatever it would be. The Limbo World Series. Mr. Olympa Limbo, what is it? Also, highest limbo competition? Another oxymoron there, folks. Look at me. Look at me. I must be a moron because I'm just full of oxys today. Anyway, before 1948, North Korea was just North Korea. It was all one Korea, and it was just in the north of it. But now, it's North Korea. It's a very important distinction. It's subtle. Very important. North Korea. North Korea. North Korea. North Korea. You get the point. What the f am I doing? And the North Korea we know and love today. I can't get through that with a straight face. The North Korea we know today, the one established in 1948, was run first by a man named Kim Il-sung, who, from my understanding, kind of built North Korea up with his own two mitts, with blood, sweat, and tears. Mostly blood and tears of everyone involved, I imagine, but I'm sure there was tons of sweat. But then, in 1994, he died, and his son, Kim Jong-il, took power. And you know when someone gets really super-duper uber rich and powerful, and then they have a kid, and that kid just has everything handed to them from daddy their entire lives, and gets super spoiled, and joins a frat, and goes to Wall Street, and does a bunch of cocaine on his yacht, and is just generally just a really f***ing shitty person? Yeah, that seems to me to basically be Kim Jong-il to a T, to a Mr. T. I mean, we talked about life expectancy earlier, and that graph says it all. The same year that Kim Jong-il took power from his father, 1994, the same year, not 2, not 3, the same year, North Korea's life expectancy went from 70 to 60. The same year. 1 year. Look at this graph. The bitch looks like it's the f***ing Matterhorn on The Price is Right. The dude shaved 10 years off in just one. I mean, that if it wasn't so f***ed up, that'd be kind of impressive, honestly.
It's kind of serious, but not really.
And despite being terrible and shitty generally, the dude was kind of quirky. He wasn't like other girls.
Seems like no one takes me seriously.
He was a strange little fella. Very small fella. A lot of things people associate with Kim Jong-un actually started with his father, Kim Jong-il. The grandiosity, the insane cult of personality, people saying that they never shit because they just work so goddamn hard.
I work very hard.
All Kim Jong-il. And like I previously mentioned, things actually sort of got better after Kim Jong-un took power. I mean, believe it or not, Kim Jong-un was somehow a fucking improvement on what came before him. How insane is that? Kim Jong-il loved to talk about himself, and just a few of his, again, very provable, scientifically confirmed claims are that he invented the hamburger a thing that has been around since, at the very least, 1880, by the way. My running theory is that he's either a time traveler or some sort of fifth-dimensional being of some kind, which, now that I think about it, does seem pretty on brand for him to also claim that he is. So, he also said that he was the greatest golfer to have ever lived.
It's all in the head, yeah.
Claiming that he once got a world record-setting score of 34 across 18 holes, with said game including 11 holes in one, and not one hole with a score of more than a birdie, and also that he bowled a perfect 300 that one time.
Nice car.
And obviously that him never shitting thing. That one's that one's a good one. I'm a fan of that one. I mean, the man just simply doesn't have time. He's too busy burning so many calories from golf and inventing the hamburger. It's a lot of work, those two activities. I also briefly want to get into some of the other claims that have come out of North Korea generally, because they really did step that up a notch after the internet came into play. They didn't, use the internet for it. I don't believe that North Korea has the internet. I don't think. Do they have the internet? They don't have there's no way they have the fucking internet. They don't have computers. They would eat them. Tasty, tasty silicon. But they just around the same time, they were like, hey, we're going to say some shit. In 2015, the national school curriculum was altered to teach kids that Kim Jong-un could perfectly drive a car by the age of 3.
Where were you going?
To the gas station.
How come?
Because I have reasons.
I get it.
I get it.
Was winning yachting competitions by the age of 9, and was also an expert artist and musical composer at around that same age. They claimed in 2016 that the country had invented, quote, hangover-free beer, which would never make you sick or give you a headache no matter how much you drank, and that they had developed a new miracle drug made from, quote, rare earth elements that would cure AIDS, cancer, and Ebola, all with the same pill. All the good ones, all the really memeable diseases there. Yeah, AIDS, cancer, and Ebola, just for good measure, the Ebola too. They also claimed that no one in the entire country or history of North Korea is or has ever been disabled. Although given their track record of systematically hunting down and eradicating, disabled people, that may actually be kind of close to true today. And finally, in 2012, the state media claimed that a group of North Korean scientists, which, again, oxymoron, had discovered a, quote, real-life unicorn layer outside of Pyongyang, the unicorns inside of which having never been photographed or proven in any way to the rest of the world. Which, how hard is it to just slap a narwhal tusk onto a donkey or something? Come on, guys. Put your back into it. But really, again, I am much more inclined to believe the unicorn part than the North Korean scientists. That is much more of a mythical creature.
A black astronaut, Cyril. That's like killing a unicorn.
Kim Jong-il was also very self-conscious about his height, standing at 5'3", with the North Korean average being 5'5", and he often remedied this with a particularly spiky hairdo and a pair of expertly hidden 5-inch platform heels. So he was just literally being Bart from that one episode of The Simpsons. His dad, Kim Il-sung, was also 5'9", and his son, Kim Jong-un, is 5'5". So I'm sure that also did not help his little man complex out very much. He literally looked up to his father quite a bit, to catch my drift. Also, god damn, I mean, can you imagine being shorter than the North Korean average? They fed him. He's the one guy that got enough nutrients to get above it, and he couldn't crack it. And 5-inch heels only making you 5'7". God damn, I mean, that's taller than Charlie. It's taller than Moist Critical, but still.
He's pulling his cock out. Woo! Yeah, baby. That's what I've been waiting for. That's what it's all about. Woo!
That's like those ads. It's like add 3 inches to your penile length. And it's like, sure, still gonna be sitting at 4 inches though, what am I supposed to do with that? And because Kim Jong-il was so self-conscious about his height, he, in a move that confuses me, attempted to rid Pyongyang, the capital of North Korea, of all of its short people. Which, seriously, confuses me. I had to read and double check that like 7 times. Oh, there's a hair in my hat here. Because wouldn't that just make the problem worse? Right? Now you just got a bunch of tolls walking around, making you look even more like a pee-wee fun-sized beta male in comparison. I mean, bro, what were you planning to accomplish here? Was he just, like, triggered by the sight of another short person? Did they all just remind him that he too is in fact vertically challenged? I don't get it. Personally, truly. If you know more about the subject, please leave that info in the comments. Or just tell me who your favorite dictator from this video was. Well, favorite is a weird word choice there, but... Or just leave some poop emojis down there, man. Just do something. I need the engagement. I may as well be a baby crazy 39-year-old girlfriend of 8 years because I just need the engagement, bro. Slip a ring on this comment section, please. Occasionally, when Kim was feeling particularly peckish, hungry, a hungry little man, he would fly in some food from another country, which a bit bougie, sure, but what was truly strange and ridiculously extravagant was his method of doing so. He had more of a teach a man to fish philosophy when it came to his meals. You see, when the man wanted pizza, he didn't reach for DiGiorno. He didn't even call in delivery. He would take the entire goddamn pizzeria from Italy and then fly it in brick by brick and reassemble it in Pyongyang. When the guy gets a little thirsty, he doesn't reach for a beer. He gets the entire goddamn brewery from Germany. The entire thing. He flew the entire thing over there. And this was occurring in a country that is, again, North Korea. I mean, no wonder the life expectancy dropped so aggressively as soon as he took power. His citizens cannot find a single grain of rice to sustain themselves on, and this dude's paying off fucking Papa John for the entire damn franchise just because he wants a single slice. There's a more efficient way to do things. I mean, while Kim Jong-il is flying in pizzerias for himself, he literally told his subjects to eat sawdust. Seriously, really, he got on state television and then the guy was like, oh, no food, you guys? There's no food in the entire country, I hear from you guys? What the f*** are you talking about? I mean, there is so much nutritious, hearty sawdust lying around this place. I mean, that is, did you guys not know you could eat that? Did you not get the memo? I eat it like every 30 seconds. It's what keeps me from shitting. Seriously, go get to sawing up some wood, fellas. Your problems are solved. Eat a bowl of dust for the goat himself. The all great and powerful, benevolent, loving, juicy Kim Jong-il was also quite a fan of his titles, of which the North Korean media and himself allegedly gave him over 1,200 of during his life. Just a short list of titles that he has been called or has called himself include Guardian Deity of the Planet, Humankind's Greatest Musical Genius, Dear Leader, who is a perfect incarnation of the appearance that a leader should have. That's a good one. Master of the Computer Who Surprised the World. What was the surprise? Greatest Saint Who Rules with Extensive Magnanimity. Superior Person. That's a good one. Superior Person. Man with Encyclopedic Knowledge. Power Incarnate with Endless Creativity. Glorious General Who Descended from Heaven. And then, of course, on the same theme, Present Day God. World's Best Ideal Leader with Versatile Talents. Good. The Great Son of Life. Perfect Picture of Wisdom and Boldness. The classic Greatest Man Who Ever Lived. And... oh my fucking god. And finally, the... Why did he call himself this? Who called him this? Finally, Kim Jong-il was referred to as the eternal bosom of hot love. I am changing my YouTube channel name to that. Which, I mean, I can kind of get with that one. I mean, look at the guy. Look at the guy. Kim Jong-il. More like Kim Jong killing me with his good looks. In addition to all those other North Korean people. That's definitely why they all died on his account, for sure. Definitely. Yes. He's just too good looking.
I'm the smartest, most clever, most physically fit, but nobody else seems to realize it.
Now, at this point, I was going to talk about Kim Jong-il's masterpiece, his magnum opus, his Michelangelo's David of absolute insanity, the time that he kidnapped 2 South Korean movie stars and forced them to make a terrible Godzilla ripoff for North Korea. But that story ended up being too interesting, and now it's like an hour long all by itself. So that's coming up next video. Get hyped. Get hyped. And the good news there is that it's kind of like pretty much done, because I was planning for it to be part of this video, so you won't have to wait a biblical amount of time between uploads like normal. So again, get hyped. Sorry this one took so long. I wasn't happy about it either. December's like the most profitable month. My wallet hurts. My wallet hurts. Support me on Patreon, maybe, link in the description. I'm really e-begging this time. I kind of need it.
Spare change.
I just decided to move across the country to try and do this full time, and kind of spent like $13,000 doing it. I don't know how it happened either. And then I got pneumonia for like 2 weeks, so I wasn't able to work on these videos during the most profitable time of the year, YouTube-wise, and then we had to move again. Another deposit, another month of rent. It's been tough. Anyway, sorry it took so long. Next one, very quick, next one. Also, go get yourself something nice from my channel merch store, necessarydrip.com. YouTube won't let me link it to my channel page anymore because it's discriminatory against British people, like they were fucking real or something. It doesn't make sense to me personally. And use the link in the description to go check out Ground News if you're tired of corporate media shoving lies down your throat about what's going on in the world. It's a really cool service where you can see the bias from different stories and shit. It's pretty neat. At least go check it out. Go check out my second channel, Necessary Nonsense. I've got a podcast on there. I got one with the homies, and I also got one that you can come on. Yes, you. Fans of the channel. It's pretty neat. It's a podcast here on my Patreon, link in the description. You can go over there, sign up for it, and then we get to have like a little chat. We record it. I post it on the channel. It's a good time. And, of course, gotta shout out my God tier patrons. Thank you to Bog Walker, Elise K, Tyler Not Yours, Cameron J, Operator Metro, I Tuck Between, Chase B, DeAndre M, Nadian Syrup, Shalom L, Arya and Calcifer, Just a Koala, Rena J, and Maxman Beta. And of course, to my 20 buckaroos, give me 20 whole bucks a month. That's it. Wow. Thank you guys. Wow. Thank you. Wow. Oh my God. We got Evan. That's my name. Crazy. We got Trent S, Fuzzy Viper Shark, Joey L, Al the Pal, Adam K, Vladimir S, Hera Boudica, Rare Bees, and Blarg. Yes, the YouTuber Blarg. Just subscribe to my Patreon. What a guy. He shouted me out a while ago for the CIA vids on his podcast. Actually gave me a decent view bump. Thanks, bro. Thanks, bro. I appreciate you, bro. Let me come on the podcast, bro. It's the Goons podcast, if you're wondering. Go check it out. And finally, go check out my buddy Klug on YouTube. That's K-L-U-G. It's not this James Klug phony that always shows up when you look it up. Just filter by channels, and it's this guy, K-L-U-G. He makes some really creative, like off-the-wall, just hilarious animations.
Now, what did your mama always say?
You know what to do. And that bad emotion, bad emotion. Yeah, my bad emotion, bad emotion.
I mean, you know, I wasn't really doing shit, but yeah, whatever, yeah.
I mean, if allow me to demonstrate. Can you blow my whistle, baby? Whistle, baby, let me know.
I just want to hit you from the back and make that growling sound like.
If you're a fan of this channel, I think you're in for a treat with that one, so go check them out. And hey, if that North Korea video I mentioned is out, here it is. Click it. More content. Click it. Consume it. Watch it. And if it's not out, then it's one of my other videos. So click it. Consume it. Those are also good. They're pretty neat. I mean, watch it. Watch it for me, please.
Hello.